Welcome back to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. Guys, we are back, episode 36. Welcome to Engines, Eliminations, and Excaliber. One of the better titles, man, that I think I've ever came up with. What a weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway, guys. Incredible weekend full of we started off the weekend hot with me throwing the ball into the end zone and Ty Majeski pulling out my best call of the season, if I do say so myself.
Pulling out the sword, honestly, the Excaliber.
He really did. He really did. Pulled out that win. Congratulations to Ty Majeski, first win in the NASCAR Truck Series. It's been a long time coming for him.
Oh yeah.
And he's locked in to the round of 4, possibly going to be in the championship. Thorsport gets a car into the championship 4, which is awesome. We're going to talk Noah Gragson getting his 3rd win in a row. However, he did not win the regular season championship. That goes to AJ Allmendinger. And then we're going to talk about the final race in the round of 16 at Bristol that was won by the farmer. Well, not the watermelon farmer, the other farmer.
Different farmer.
Christopher Buescher. Christopher Buescher getting himself a win this weekend. We're going to talk about how that affected the playoff field. But firstly, I have to introduce my amazing co-hosts for Marion Phoenix and for Burnout Sports. My name is Tristan Grider, joined with my incredible co-hosts, Daniel Chaney and Justin Cox. How are we doing today, boys?
Who, me?
How are we doing today?
It's along me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm good. I'm good, honestly. I don't know. I mean, I had class today. Biology is kind of but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
That's a mid-science right there.
Yeah, we had we had a biology lab. We were like looking through microscopes and like we were looking at pond water and there was little chromatids in there. It was crazy. It was weird. They were swimming. It's actually crazy to kind of look at that because you don't see that with your normal eye. Weird, but yeah, that was my day today. So, Daniel.
I mean, I thought it was a really good, solid weekend of racing. Not like the best by any means, but still fun. I mean, Bristol's always fun. But we'll get into kind of the cup race and how it's mixed. It's mixed. But I was sad that my favorite got eliminated, but I've got a second favorite to advance, so I got to live through him for the next few weeks. But besides that, I'm doing great.
Nice.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact really quick that everyone that got eliminated was the past, present, and future of Richard Childress Racing?
Dude, no, straight up, because like whatever racing god had some Busch Light or beer or something, Richard Childress must have pissed in it because he must have did something to tick the racing gods off. I don't know what it took, but.
He said, I don't know what it took, but he did.
Yeah, Harvick gets eliminated along with Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. And their new driver of the 8 car, Kyle Busch, gets eliminated in the first round of the round 16. We got a lot to talk about, but first things first, let's open the episode how we always do. Let's talk our race winners really quick before we go into Motorsport Media. Congratulations to Ty Majeski, Noah Gragson, and Chris Buescher. But first off, let's go Motorsport Media. Alrighty, guys. So for NASCAR, we have to talk scheduling first. But before we go through all the schedule stuff, quick couple of little silly season stuff. So Ryan Ellis, he's been driving part-time in NASCAR for many years now. Made some Cup starts, made some Xfinity Series starts. He's going to return on a almost full-time schedule with Alpha Prime next season. Still going to be part-time. It reminds me a lot of what Justin Haley did for Spire Motorsports last season, where he ran 33 out of the 36 races for the team, but he was still part-time. One of the main reasons why Justin Haley's not up for Rookie of the Year this season. But Alpha Prime on a part-time schedule in 2023. Jesse Little, who was making some Xfinity Series starts and Truck Series starts, was actually the son of former Cup Series driver Chad Little, if you've ever heard that name before, guys. He officially announced at Bristol in the Truck Series that was his final race. So Jesse Little has retired from NASCAR racing.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
Because he was a
weird.
guy that was expected to get a Cup start back in Cup Series ride back in like 2019,
Right,
2018.
Yeah. Wow.
Because he was in that
Mhm.
he was actually in that same like driver class with drivers like Haley Deegan and other guys that were coming up.
Yeah. Interesting.
However, the biggest silly season news is that Ryan Vargas will not race for JD Motorsports at Texas this weekend, Homestead in a couple of weeks, or the series finale at Phoenix. We've seen a little bit of a trend with Ryan Vargas at JD Motorsports over these last 3 seasons. They say that Ryan Vargas, who is the most popular driver for JD Motorsports, he's the one that brings in the fans, he brings in the most sponsorship money. I'm not saying that Vargas is the most talented driver in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but JD Motorsports always teases at the beginning of the season that Vargas will have a full series ride for the season.
Mhm.
Vargas has only raced half of the races this season, and I think
seems
it's
like-
fair to say.
And it seems
ahead.
like every time like he gets ready to race these races is when they announce that he's not racing.
Ooh, it's always
So-
really inconvenient.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
don't know if-
predicting.
I don't know if they've had these planned out beforehand because he always like makes a post and says like, "Hey, this is just kind of how it is, you know, whatever," and this, that, and the third. But
Mhm.
like, at the same time, it's like, you know, like Ryan, like,
It's kind of crappy. I'm not gonna lie, like a little shady, but I'm predicting that we will not see Ryan Vargas back at JD Motorsports next season in the 6 car. There are some rumors that Jordan Anderson Racing is expanding to 2 cars in the Xfinity Series next season.
Ooh.
Maya
And,
and Ryan.
Maya and Ryan, who actually live together, fun fact,
Yeah. Yeah.
could be on the same race team next season. I could see it happening. Vargas brings a lot of sponsorship. So
Love
the Rhino and the Louisiana hot sauce man himself, Myatt Snyder, on the same team. I'd love to see it. This is what Vargas had to say in response to not racing 3 out of the final 8 races of the season. I understand these decisions may reflect bad on me from the outside looking in, but there are a lot of factors that go into these decisions. I look forward to finishing my scheduled races with my team and delivering for my devoted partners and group of people behind me. That's what Vargas had to say. Hopefully, Ryan, you can find a ride for these races, possibly with Mike Harmon, maybe with Brandon Brown. We'll find something for you, man, hopefully. But now we got to talk series schedules. We're going to start next season in the Craftsman Truck Series. I haven't called it that in a while,
That's
but
wild. That's
the
weird.
Craftsman Truck Series. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
I finally just got used to saying Campy World again, but Craftsman, we're throwing it back to early 2000s, man. Like, that's freaking crazy.
That is wild.
So Truck Series schedule pretty much the same. Go to Daytona, Vegas, Atlanta, Coda, Texas, Bristol Dirt, Martinsville, Kansas, Darlington, and then we go to All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend, we had talked about it last week, is where the Cup Series will be at North Wilkesboro. For the first time since 1996, there will be a points-paying NASCAR Touring Series race at North
Yeah.
Wilkesboro Speedway.
The All-Star race isn't points paying.
No, I'm talking about the trucks right
Trucks.
now.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
My bad. Okay.
Trucks are going to
Sorry.
North Wilkesboro.
Same weekend. Same weekend.
Incredible.
My bad.
Then a couple of happy thoughts towards the Truck Series schedule. They're returning to Gateway. Awesome. They are going to go back to Mid-Ohio. The best
Let's
Truck Series race of
go.
the season was at Mid-Ohio. Instead of going back to Knoxville, the NASCAR trucks are going to Milwaukee Mile, baby.
Yeah.
We're going walkie, and I'm just letting you guys know, August 27th, we're going. Like, I'm going to the Milwaukee Mile. Like, I'm sorry. I've wanted them to go back to Milwaukee for so many years. And here's the great part about the Milwaukee race. The first race of the playoffs, again, for the second year in a row, trucks are returning to IRP. Why would they not?
Let's
Incredible
go.
racing. We get 2 short tracks in a row in the Truck Series playoffs, IRP, and Milwaukee. It's going to be fire. We finish off the playoffs with Kansas, Bristol, Dega, Homestead, Miami, and Phoenix. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
That's awesome.
But I'm excited. I'm really excited. So that's the Truck Series schedule, guys. Xfinity Series, it's pretty much the same. Like, literally the entire same schedule. The only difference is that Portland is actually going to be earlier in the season. The first week of June is going to be Portland. They're still going to Road America. Road America will be moved to July 29th this year instead of being on July 4th weekend. The Chicago Street Race will take the date that Road America was at. So Xfinity is going to be on the Chicago Street Race. From what I can tell, it looks like they are not going to be racing at Watkins Glen. Oh, no, they are. They're racing at Watkins Glen. I don't know what track the Chicago Street Course replaced for Xfinity. I believe it might have been a second Kansas date. It looks like, yeah, second Kansas date. That's cool. But for the first time ever, the Xfinity Series is going to Sonoma. Like, that's so cool. Like, Xfinity racing at Sonoma, and it's going to be June 10th, so the same weekend that Cup races at Sonoma. They have back-to-back road courses. In the span of the entire second row, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 races from June 3rd to August 19th. 6 of those are road courses. That's incredible. A lot of road courses this year. Now for the Cup Series schedule, it's pretty much the same. Not a whole lot of differences here besides the Chicago Street Race, which we already knew. The playoff races are exactly the same. The Indy Road Course has now been pushed back a couple of weeks, so it'll be August 13th for the Indy Road Course. North Wilkesboro, All-Star, Darlington, still having 2 dates. Bristol Dirt, still going to be on Easter. It's pretty much the exact same schedule next season for the NASCAR Cup Series. But something that is a little disappointing is that there is only one off week for NASCAR this season for the weeks between February 5th and November 5th. That's going to be very tough on those crews. So I hope NASCAR in the future can find some ways to add some more bye weeks throughout the season. And also, this is the 3rd straight year that we're having the exact same playoff races. Can we please just switch it up already? Like,
can we make Homestead the finale again?
Like, okay, here's my thing. I get why it's at Phoenix because they put all that money into that facility. However, Homestead's the better track.
Man.
Like, it's the better track. But the thing that's just annoying is that we're going to the exact same playoff races this season. Kevin Harvick on social media did the pros and cons of the schedule list. He put Clash of the Coliseum. Yay. We love that. We love stadium racing. Indy Road Course. Boo. We don't love that. Bristol Dirt on Easter. Boom. We love that. And then he was like, 1 off week a season. No. We don't love that. Yeah. All-Star at North Wilkesboro. Boom. Like that. We love that. The exact same playoff races. No, we don't like that. It's whatever. However, something that's incredible is that Texas is only going to have 1 date next season. So,
yeah, baby.
That's what's up. Speaking of Texas, we're going to Texas this weekend for Cups and for Cup and for Xfinity, but we'll talk about that later. I'm going to go to Jay with some F1 news.
Okay, so to start off for our F1 segment of Motorsport Media. So all these are from Formula Racers. AlphaTauri is happy to give Colton Herta FP1 runs to help him secure the necessary super license point for him to compete next year. So it's good to hear AlphaTauri is willing to let Colton Herta be able to actually accumulate those rest of those like super license points he needs, because he has to run a certain amount of miles or kilometers, whatever it is, in like any practice session in an F1 car, in an official practice session. So
Will this be this season or will it be next season?
it might be this season.
Okay.
Because it says super license points for him to compete next year, so it would be this season.
Got it.
Yeah, so interesting there. Now going up here, Pierre Gasly's move to Alpine appears increasingly likely, with Red Bull now in talks with the potential replacement Nick De Vries. So we know that Pierre Gasly's been looking to get to Alpine, whether that's been with Colton Herta moving, or whether that's been by some other type of like deal that happened. Nick De Vries really showed up at Monza, and we see Nick De Vries, and he's talented, and he's always been, and he's been very overlooked in my opinion in his short career so far. And he finally got his chance, and he proved that he can compete in F1, in my opinion. And now he's already in talks with Red Bull and AlphaTauri, so gonna be interesting. Next up,
Is really quick, is De Vries racing again in a couple weekends, or is that going to be Albon?
It might. If it is, it's a last second decision for De Vries to run. But I think Albon should be fine by then, is what I've heard.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's still no clear favorite for who to join Williams. It's still between Logan Sargent, Jack Doohan, and Mick Schumacher. Those are all three of the contenders. As we know, Mick Schumacher has lost his like little contract, or his Ferrari like agent driving
his ties,
school. Yeah, his Ferrari ties basically, essentially. Yeah. So and then actually to kind of touch on a little more about De Vries and Doohan, Antonio Giovinazzi will reportedly be the first driver to participate in Alpine's Hungary test. He's expected to take the wheel tomorrow, followed by De Vries on Wednesday and Doohan and on Thursday. So there's a lot of playing going on around here. Alpine is definitely trying to find a person, and they're making sure that they find that person. So yeah, that's very interesting. So I don't know if for the De Vries test, if for Alpine, if that's going to necessarily affect anything for AlphaTauri and him going to AlphaTauri, but I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I'm not the expert here. I just kind of get my news from other people. So shout out Formula Racers. But yeah, so yeah. So Daniel, I know you don't have much news for IndyCar, but let's talk about some silly season, my guy.
Oh yeah, boys. Okay, so IndyCar season's over, and we've already got the big. Well, I guess I do have a little bit of news, because some news that we speculated last week did indeed come true. Alex Palou is returning to Chip Ganassi Racing. Felix Rosenqvist is returning to Arrow McLaren SP.
Yep.
We were expecting that last week, because we said something about how they were reporting that changes were advancing, essentially, or at least like the contract movement was advancing. So turns out nothing's changing in that front. So all that drama for nothing, essentially, which I thought was a little like. It's a little annoying that there's all that drama if it was just going to be resolved,
Right.
in my opinion. Like, I at least thought something really weird, wacky, and interesting was going to happen with it, but it's staying the same. So Rosenqvist will be back in the 7. Palou will be back in the 10, at least for next season. After next season, couldn't tell you. But there are still some seats that need to be filled, or could questionably be filled in the future. So I am going to run through some of these seats and ask you guys who you think could or will take that seat.
Okay.
We're going to start off with one that we've pretty much known all season was going to be needed to be filled. The AJ Foyt Racing number 14 car. I am going to start off with Jay on this one.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Give me like just a moment. You might need to start with Tristan on this one, because I have no idea.
Tristan, do you have something in mind for this one?
Yeah, so AJ Foyt, number 14, is seen as kind of a back marker. AJ Foyt Racing is a back marker. This ride Kirkwood was in last season only got 1 top 10 on the year.
They're the
Plenty of
Williams
good
of
runs.
IndyCar.
They
They're
are
the Williams
plenty
of
of good
IndyCar.
runs on ovals, but this was not a very good season for the flagship car of AJ Foyt Racing. First thing you're going to need is sponsorship. And when I'm thinking sponsorship, I'm looking at some of these guys that are up and coming in the Indy Lights series.
You know who I'm thinking now?
However, oh, give me a second.
You're good. You're good.
However, I'm also looking at some veterans. I might be looking at some guys that are trying to find their way back to full time. And the first guy that I'm thinking for this AJ Foyt number 14, J.R. Hildebrand. That's my first.
Would he do full time though?
See, that's my thing. He might be looking to come back to full time because he does have sponsorship. So AJ Foyt's looking for sponsorship for this car. My second pick for this car is an Indy Lights guy that's trying to get himself into the IndyCar series. I think he's going to Juncos, but you can't count out Ben Peterson for this
That's
number
what I was
14
gonna say.
car.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
I think Ben Peterson is definitely a contender for this 14. Third pick, I don't know, like for real, because I honestly thought Felix might be an option for this 14, but since he's returning to Arrow McLaren next season, maybe we see a F2 guy that doesn't have a ride come over and steal this 14 last second, kind of like Christian Lundgaard for RLR last season.
Well, let's not forget about Stephen Wilson.
Ah, yeah, I did forget about Stephen Wilson. I don't
Maybe
But again,
maybe
I'll raise you the question.
Maybe unlikely.
I'll raise you the question.
but
Full time? Full time.
Possibly.
Like-
if he's got sponsorship.
Yeah, but he barely had enough sponsorship.
Do you
to
know
get that
who
ride
else
to
has
500
sponsorship
last year.
and could be in any ride in IndyCar if he wants it? Jay's hair twin, Santino Ferrucci.
Okay.
I think we could honestly see Santino
That's true.
Ferrucci as a contender for this car as well.
It's true.
But my main
Santucci.
picks are JL Hildebrand and Ben Peterson. Looks like Jay is going with Ben Peterson and Daniel's going with Ben Peterson.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Ben Peterson for this one, simply because since May, we have seen him hanging out in the AJ Foyt garage pretty much all the time. He's got sponsorship, and plus, if he takes the 14, I'm probably going to buy a diecast of the Oberto Beef Jerky Indy car because that's just going to be cool looking. Like, there's no way it doesn't look cool. So that's who I think is going to take the 14. Next car. This was recently revealed this car was even going to be a thing. It had been predicted. People kind of assumed it would be a thing, but it's official. Juncos Hollinger Racing is going to have 2 cars. They've already got the 77 with Callum Ilott. They're going to have the 78. I'm going to say I don't think this is who's going to take it, but it's something I'd like to see. The issue with this is I don't know sponsorship-wise how it'll go, because for this car especially, you need money, you need sponsorship. This is a very small team that has a lot of good runs, honestly, but throughout the season we've seen them flip sponsors just on a race-by-race basis. And so I don't know what this guy has in the sponsorship department anymore. I will say anymore. I think maybe not the conventional pick for this ride, but something I'd like to see. I'd like to see Ryan Hunter-Reay get one last run. And he had been helping out with Juncos during the month of May for Indy 500 stuff, kind of giving Callum Ilott some driver tips. So I know he's close to the team. I don't know if his Chip Ganassi sports car racing stuff would get in the way, because I don't know what that contract looks like.
Right.
Or SRX, honestly.
Well, yeah, but he was doing that, and that's only 6 weeks. And we've seen IndyCar guys do the full season and just do part-time in SRX. Plus, we don't even know if SRX is going to happen again next year. Just being realistic. I don't think it will happen, but I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see Ryan Hunter-Reay in the 78. Jay, I'm going to go to you first for this one, since Tristan went first on the last one.
I have kind of had this in my mind for this car since it was announced. He filled in for Callum. You guys probably know who I'm gonna go with, Mr. Santucci, my hair twin. But yeah, I'm going with Santucci for the Juncos car. But also, along with the AJ Foyt 14, I can see Ben Peterson going here as well. He can go anywhere he wants, in my opinion. Ben Peterson, he has secure sponsorship. He can go anywhere he wants, in my opinion. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Juncos Hollinger Racing really likes their guys that came out of the Ferrari F1 program. Callum Ilott has been very successful, and his teammate in F2 was also really successful and is currently without a ride for next season. And that man is Marcus Armstrong. I think we could see Marcus Armstrong make the leap over to IndyCar full-time next season in the 78. Armstrong and Ilott are friends, both growing up in the Ferrari F1 development program. Both of them kind of screwed out of Ferrari rides because they keep signing Leclerc and Sainz to long-term extensions, and they keep messing up pit stops. So, have you guys seen that meme of the guys that are fighting in the tires with swords right now? That's my favorite thing right now. Of like, it's like, this is what I bet a Ferrari F1 pit stop is. But I could see Marcus Armstrong. Yeah, for real. I could see Marcus Armstrong being that guy next season.
He's him.
F2 rookies have came over. I mean, Ilott, Lundgaard, and Calderon. All three were F2 past drivers that all three had decent seasons. Calderon obviously had her season cut short, but what Calderon did run, she ran well in. I mean, led laps at the Indy GP. Lundgaard just came home with Rookie of the Year, and Ilott, like, come on, the man was incredible this season. So I think we see Marcus Armstrong.
He was incredible. Qualifying,
that's true.
Incredible.
So I personally think that we could see him return with his teammate Callum Ilott. Marcus Armstrong's my pick.
All right, I could see that. He's kind of been one of the names thrown around a lot, so it's not that far out of left field. I feel like I was probably the only one with like a kind of out of left field one.
Yeah.
For that. But,
I mean, I liked the Hunter Ray pick because we did see Hunter Ray kind of hanging out as a driver coach around Juncos in the month of May. But, I mean, we talked to Hunter Ray, and he seemed happy. He's retired, so.
But he was also in talks to take over the 10 if Pelot had to like sit out races this season.
Right.
That's true.
So, again, that's all based on whatever his sports car contract is. I don't know what that looks like. So that was more of like a heart pick than a brain pick. And then we'll go over to one more team. Well, I guess two more teams. We're going to go to Ed Carpenter Racing. This is kind of a theoretical pick because they haven't confirmed whether they're going to go to 3 full-time cars. They always do 3 part-time cars, and they usually have, this year it was the 33. For the past few seasons, they would do a part-time 500 car, being like the 47 most of the years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one, if it does become a full-time car, or if it's just ovals only with Ed Carpenter. But if they go to maybe not a full-time car, but at least do some sort of street and road course races with this car, who do you guys think is going to take it over? I'll go to Tristan first, because I know Tristan kind of has a thought process for this one.
So the 21 and the 20, they had decent years. I mean, like, Venus was very disappointing this season. We were all expecting him to go out and have an absolute mad lad of a year. Most of the weekends, Daly was outrunning him. Not out qualifying him most weeks, but most of the weeks he was outrunning him. So as of right now, in the second half of the season. But in my opinion, Rinus VeeKay is still the flagship guy for Ed Carpenter Racing. I don't know how much longer Daly is going to be with Ed Carpenter Racing, but
I think he's got one more season of this contract.
Yeah.
Because it was a 2-year. It was a 2-year contract.
However, I think I see ECR going after a rookie this season to put in a possible third car. I'm going to treat this as it's going to be a third car. Okay, that's my thing. I think it's going to be a full-time third car. I'm looking at Indy Lights. I know I'm not going to be able to get Linus Lundqvist. I'm looking down. I'm not probably Hunter McElroy just resigned. Can't go after McElroy. Ben Peterson's probably going to go to Juncos or to AJ Foyt. We had him on last week. I think Stingray
okay.
Robb is a definite contender for that seat. He teased that he's doing some IndyCar tests. He wouldn't tell us for what team because obviously that's not what we do over here. He just said Jay just asked him when we wanted to see him in IndyCar when that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he said he has some tests with some teams that are not Andretti. ECR is a definite contender for that. And I think we see the Stinger, who does have sponsorship with, I believe the company is Sagatti. I think we could see maybe Stingray over there. I'd
Okay,
love to see it
okay.
because, in my
Oh, I'd
opinion,
love
he
to
might
see
be
it.
the only option. I think he might be the only option.
I mean, the only other option out of Indy Lights, I would think, would have to be Brabham, right?
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah, but
only
I think Brabham though is probably gonna be that guy that will hop into the fourth Andretti car if we see Herta go to F1 next season. So that's just me though,
That's fair.
because Brabham's the guy with the most sponsorship on the Andretti Autosports team. So
but he's also the oldest, and I don't know. I don't know if you'd want to
look
put
at
a guy.
we aren't allowed to put age in IndyCar anymore. Look at Scott McLaughlin. Man is 33 years old and won 3 races this season.
I mean,
You
yeah,
can't. It's his second full-time year in IndyCar. Like, no, like age is not a thing anymore in IndyCar. Like, you can go in there and you can win racing no matter how old you are. Look at Tony Kanaan. I mean, like, the man gets a top 5 at Indy every freaking year. Like, it's
part-time
whatever.
basis though. Part-time.
We're not talking about it in Andretti Autosport right now. Jay, who you putting in the car?
Okay. So, in my opinion, if they don't go with potentially a Stingray Robb or a Matt Brabham per se, someone from Indy Lights that is not secure for next season, right? I think they should pick this guy up, and he's kind of been out of the loop for the past couple of years. I can't remember who he drove for. I think he drove for Andretti actually when he was in IndyCar for a little while, but he kind of got his little butt booted for someone better. Let me know if I'm thinking of the wrong person. No, I am thinking of the wrong person. I was thinking of Zach Beach, but I'm going with Oliver Askew.
Oh yeah, you
Okay.
got
Hey,
what was it?
hey,
1 year
Zach
with Arrow
Beach would-
McLaren?
Yeah,
Zach
that's who.
Beach would
Yeah,
definitely be a
Arrow
contender
McLaren.
for that as well.
Arrow McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who it was. It wasn't Andretti. Arrow
He's got
McLaren.
Andretti ties now because of Formula E. That's
Yeah.
probably what you're.
Yeah. My bad. But
All
Oliver
good, all
Askew.
good.
But Oliver Askew. That's who I'm gonna go with.
Okay. I mean, I
Nice.
think Oliver Askew would be my pick for the 26 if something were to happen with that seat,
Right.
just because the tie and I don't know. In my head, if I'm Michael Andretti and the 26 becomes an open seat, I think I'd rather have Oliver Askew than Matt Brabham. Just personally, that's
fair.
just like a knowing somebody who's had a full season worth.
If I'm
IndyCar
Michael
experience.
Andretti and if I had to choose between Matt Brabham and Stingray Robb, I would choose Stingray Robb every day.
Oh
of the
well,
week.
yeah,
Yeah,
but-
like
we don't know if he's going to be an option. That's the thing.
true.
Because if he gets signed somewhere before the 26 gets dealt with, while we don't think the 26 is going to be open anymore, it opens up the question: if it were to open after a lot of deals have been signed, who would they just kind of shovel into that seat?
Right.
So, if that were to happen, I think Askew is taking the 26. Just personally. Ed
Last seat.
Carpenter Racing. I don't know if it'll be a full-time car,
Okay.
but even if it's a full-time car
Who's the last one for again? Sorry.
for ECR,
Okay.
I think Ed Carpenter Racing, you're going to have Ed Carpenter on the ovals. This just
Okay.
happens. But then, say if we're hypothetically expanding to the full season for that car, Ed Carpenter gets the ovals, road and street courses, I think they would be expanding on their partnership with Beretta Autosports, making the 33 car also the 16 car, just not in ovals, but every other week, as opposed to just the select 3 or 4 races.
Right.
Because we know Beretta wants to expand. We know Beretta and Carpenter Racing have had a really close working relationship this year. And in the last race, we saw Beretta Autosports using a sponsor from BitNile, who is the big backer for Ed Carpenter Racing right now.
They are at Carpenter Racing right now.
That leads me to believe that Pod Alt and the whole BitNile crew, if they're willing to start giving sponsorship to Beretta, that makes me think that Beretta Autosports has an in, at least in some capacity for next year with Ed Carpenter Racing. Will it be a full-time outside of ovals? I don't know. Will it be maybe more races than last year, maybe 5 or 6? I don't know. But that's my pick for the Ed Carpenter Racing situation, if you will.
Right.
And Linus Lundqvist to the second DCR car. or the HMD car.
Yeah.
The third DCR, second DCR HMD car.
Right.
But as we've reported before, there's a big question mark with that because Honda has basically said they don't really. I don't know if it's that they don't want to or that they can't expand the amount of full-time engines for next year, and so I think they're capped. So unless a team like Andretti, if Colton Herta's out
They just drop a
and
car.
gets picked up, would they just move down to 3 cars? Chip Ganassi Racing. Jimmy Johnson's not full-time potentially. He hasn't confirmed whether he's doing full-time, just road and street courses, just ovals. Would they just get rid of Jimmy? Would they just have him on a part-time basis and maybe get rid of the 48, drop down to 3
Are you saying that Linus Lundqvist is going to...
No.
Okay.
No,
What
he's
I'm
saying this.
saying-
He's
what I'm
saying this
saying
to
is
free
if-
up an engine spot.
If Ganassi isn't going to have Jimmy Johnson run full-time, I don't think that would count for the full-time engine count.
Yeah.
If that's just a part-time oval-only car.
Okay.
Yeah, because Honda said
So
they're
if that
free
were to
open up.
happen, if that were to happen, I think the Honda engine spot would open up. HMD gets 2 cars in the whole DCR program. Then you get him in whatever number they would pick for that. And then once David Malukas is out after next season, because he's on a 2-year deal, and he's been very vocal about it, his family and the team has been very vocal about it. If he gets an opportunity outside of HMD that's better and makes more sense, they're completely okay with it. Because while Henry Malukas is the team owner, David Malukas is a driver. He can do what he wants. They've been very clear. That is the plan. So
All right,
if they
well, there we
expand
go.
to 2 cars, I think, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it, it's a confusing partnership explanation. I think you would see Linus Lundqvist in the third DCR, second HMD car, and then if they would take that down to 1 car after next year, I don't know. It's a big question mark, but we'll see in the next few months.
Oh, yeah.
Anything's really possible.
Oh yeah.
I guess we will. Well, anyway, guys, that's all we have for Motorsport Media. Let's go ahead and transition. Let's talk Bristol. Okay, guys, all I have is 2 little things from Bristol. So, obviously, Chris Buescher went out there and got this win. But first things first, we got to talk the Xfinity Series and we got to talk Truck Series really quick. First off, Ty Majeski, is he a definite contender for the Truck Series championship now? Yes, he's in the round of 4. I think Ty Majeski is a very solid pick to go to Phoenix. He didn't burn that engine down, which makes me saying they're bringing that exact same truck to Phoenix.
I don't blame him. I would too.
If I am Ty Majeski, I'm not playing it safe these next 2 weeks. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to get as many points as I possibly can and go out there, win Talladega. Ty Majeski's incredible at Talladega. I know it's the highest finisher in the Truck Series, but this guy, it's his first full-time season in trucks in 2 years. If I'm him, I'm going out there. I'm trying to get another win, but that's just me. Anyway, Xfinity Series, we just had Noah Gragson win his 3rd race in the row. He's going to Petty GMS next season. We got playoffs. Who's your guys at the beginning of the season? we all had our playoff prediction championship picks. Mine was Josh Berry. Daniel went Ty Gibbs, and I believe
I?
Jay.
I think I went Ty Gibbs.
Uh,
I think
sorry,
I-
Jay
I'm
I think
went
calling
Daniel
Ty
went
Gibbs.
Noah Gregson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Daniel went Noah Gregson. I apologize. Now that we're starting this playoffs, I'm pretty sure Daniel's gonna stick with the Noah Gregson championship pick.
I got 3 straight wins. Are you kidding me, bro? Like,
Like 6 wins on the season. It's incredible. Jay, I'm gonna guess you're probably gonna dig Ty Gibbs as well.
Duh. Yeah, because
Here's my
I
thing
think
about my
he's
Josh
gonna-
Berry. Yeah.
Sorry, I think he's gonna want to like prove himself. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows
Yeah.
he's probably already got a ride for next season in the Cup Series. Like that doesn't matter. But I think he still wants to go and try to win this Xfinity Championship this season to prove himself. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't blame him. But for Xfinity Series, my championship pick at the beginning of the season was Josh Berry. And here's the thing. I think he's going to have a chance. But I don't really see Josh Berry as a contender for this championship anymore. As I'm looking through the playoff guys, the only guy I can really see winning this championship is one of 3 guys. And the first pick is Ty Gibbs. The second pick is Noah Gregson. A lot of people see Justin Allgaier as that third pick, but I see AJ Allmendinger as that third pick. I think we could see AJ Allmendinger pulling off this championship. I want to stick with Josh Berry, and I'm going to stick with Josh Berry, but I think Gregson, Gibbs, and Allmendinger are the 3 guys.
Jeremy
there we go.
Clements Championship 2022.
Hey, Jeremy Clements, I'm just proud of that man. Anyway, Cup Series, guys, we got to talk round of 16 craziness. So, for the 3rd straight week, we have had a non-playoff driver win a race. This was a big debate on Twitter that now we are up to 19 winners on the season. We are tied for the most winners on the season with the 2001 season, along with 2 other seasons. Michael McDowell still hasn't won. Ryan Blaney still hasn't won. Martin Truex still hasn't won. There are a lot of guys that are due for wins. Do we see 20? Jay, I'm going to start with you.
That's been my prediction since we've been talking about this is 20. So
Yeah.
I'm sticking with 20. I say we get no more than 20 this season.
Okay. Daniel.
Dude, honestly, they can keep climbing up to like. I mean, what's it even like possibly? Like, what's the max
Yes.
it could be right now?
I think we have 7 races left this season.
So it could go up to 26.
We could have 26 winners possibly this season.
I don't think it's gonna be 26.
No shit.
I'm saying, I'm saying, at this rate, I think 21 and 22 is possible. Because there's still competitive drivers, competitive rides that haven't won. Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex. Let's see, we still got Talladega on the schedule. Anybody can win that one. Anybody. Like, it's lined up to where we could realistically maybe get 23 or 24. It sounds
see it
wild.
climbing
It
that
sounds wild, but things can go that way. We've still
Listen.
got one more road. We got the Roval, we've got Talladega, and then we've got a bunch of drivers that have proven they can win races consistently that just haven't yet. It's possible. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it could.
I'm going to be the guy that, listen, I want 20 winners, guys. I really want 20 winners. But 3 in a row from non-playoff drivers, a non-playoff driver is not winning for the rest of the season. It's going to stay at 19. NASCAR, I know that they love having all these non-playoff guys winning, but it's not going to happen for the rest of the season. NASCAR wants their playoff guys to win some racing. They're going to give them the better cars. We're going to see
Tristan,
19 winners.
have you lost faith in Michael McDowell?
I have not lost faith in Michael McDowell, and I still think he's a definite contender for the Roval and for Talladega and for Homestead and for Las Vegas and for Phoenix and for all of these tracks that we're still going to. But NASCAR wants their playoff guys to win races. And we can see that based on the social media presence that they've had on their stuff that they love that drivers like Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Eric Jones, the underdogs of the sport, are winning. But we're still seeing more posts about the playoff guys. They want the playoff guys to succeed. I don't blame them. Right. Speaking of the playoff guys, let's talk the playoff guys that we have remaining in this championship. 4 guys that were eliminated were Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick. The 12 guys that have advanced are Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, and rookie Austin Cindric. Out of all of these guys, 4 of these round of 12 competitors have never made the playoffs before. So these drivers are Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Cindric. Out of these 4 guys remaining, out of these 12 guys that we have going, who is one guy that you realistically see missing the round of 8? Just one guy. Just pick one guy.
Chase Briscoe.
Start with Jay.
Chase Briscoe.
Why Chase Briscoe?
I don't know. I mean, he's been fairly consistent, right? But when you're going to the round of 8, you can't just be consistent at this point. So consistency can get you to the round of 12, but once you get to the round of 8 and the round of 4, consistency is out of the equation at that point, in my opinion. Knowing how things have been. I mean, granted, if he wins some stages and stuff, sure, maybe that matters, but he hasn't really won stages or won a race since Phoenix, right? So he hasn't really done much.
His season fell off from there.
Yeah, so
However, in reality, Chase Briscoe had the second most stage wins throughout the entire regular season,
that's
right
what
behind
asked.
Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Yeah.
I asked if
he had stage wins.
Okay.
He just didn't have
like a race
anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I could definitely see it being Chase Briscoe. I'm gonna go before Daniel, you give your pick. I'm gonna go with the guy that's on your hat. I honestly could see Ross Chastain missing the round of 8. Here's my reasoning why. Yes, we're going to Texas next week. What are the next 2 races that we have after Texas?
Wild cards.
Talladega and the Charlotte Roval. All season long, I have seen Ross Chastain move drivers out of the way, drive aggressively. And if there's one track that we have seen in the past 5 years that it has been a playoff race, the Charlotte Roval has been the place where we have seen playoff hopes die. Jimmy Johnson in 2018 had pretty much locked himself into the round of 8 after a boneheaded move that caused him to try to win the race at the Charlotte Roval. He spun out, wrecked, and then took Martin Truex Jr. with him, and he missed the round of 8 by 1 point. 1 point. Last season, we saw Kevin Harvick get his cage rattled by Chase Elliott, and he went head on into the, the Tums heartache turn now or something like that?
Heartburn turn.
I don't know. Heartburn turn. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Ross Chastain's going to get his ass turned a couple of times. I think he's going to wreck at Talladega. I don't think we see him go back-to-back at Talladega. I think Ross Chastain is going to be out of the round of 8. At route, I think he's going to miss. Daniel, who's your one guy you could see missing?
Okay, first, I want to give a counterpoint to the Ross Chastain thing. While it's not necessarily likely that he'll repeat at Talladega, he's good on super speedways. So don't count him out for the win at Talladega. Because you win, you move on. Doesn't matter about the Roval if you win at Dega. That's my one counterpoint. My driver that I realistically think won't move forward in the round. I didn't think he was going to make it past the first round. I know it was a bold take of me to not think he was going to make it past the first round. I think Daniel Suarez realistically has a shot at not making it. It's just a feeling thing. I don't know. I think the lack of Cup Series playoff experience is gonna kind of get to it. I don't think he's necessarily bad or like great at either of these tracks or any of these 3 tracks. I honestly was just surprised he moved past the first round, especially since he wrecked in Bristol. He was just able to keep going, and it just ended up costing Reddick because Reddick had more damage. So,
I think
and
Daniel's just salty.
I'm salty about it, but like I'm not even salty in the Suarez way. I was surprised Suarez. I mean, I was surprised
Daniel's
Cindric
just
moved
sitting there. He's
forward
just
after
like,
Bristol.
"Effing Austin Cindric."
No, dude, I like Cindric. I like Suarez. I got a Suarez sticker on my laptop right now.
I'm so
Just
mad.
got it.
I'm so mad because I
Thank you,
had
Sonoma.
Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney.
For real. Thank you, Sonoma.
I had Austin Dillon,
Sonoma
Ryan
sent me
Blaney,
a sticker.
Austin Cindric, and Daniel Suarez getting knocked out in round 1. I was right for a little while though. I'm just gonna say
yeah.
I was right for a little while during the race, but yeah, somehow Ryan
However-
Blaney was 197 laps down and was still somehow in the playoffs.
Dude, but
Here's my
you
thing,
know
though.
what might be a hot take?
Go ahead.
This isn't somebody I think is necessarily going to be out of the playoffs. But if we're talking about the Roval and who the Roval could screw up, last year we saw one rivalry that got really big in the playoffs that ended up transpiring at the Roval, that being Chase Elliott, Gavin Harvick. What has been the biggest 2-driver rivalry this entire season?
Larson and Chase Elliott.
Outside of that.
Hamlin and Chastain.
Denny Hamlin and Ross
Hamlin and Chastain. They're both in the playoffs. One of them or both of them could kind of check out. Because here's the thing. Right now, as they stand, Chastain's 3rd, Hamlin's 6th. Right now, they're not in like a dire points needing like spot. But if things transpire, that's the rivalry that's going to blow up. I could see Denny Hamlin missing the round of 8 just because of that rivalry potentially becoming something at the Roval. That's a hot take.
Hey,
Hot take.
it is what it is. That's our hot take, guys, going in to this weekend at Texas. Speaking of this weekend at Texas, we got some picks to make. All right, guys, we got 2 races to make our pick this week. Jay, tell us about who got some points last week, and start with me.
Okay. So last week, not to toot your own horn, Tristan, but Tristan got a point for his Ty Majeski pick, which was a very, very good pick. I'll give him that.
Thank you.
credit.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah,
Call of the year.
You said call of the year. Me and Daniel, we stay at 20. I stay at 20 points. Daniel stays at 19. Tristan moves up from 16 to 17 points. We all missed our Cup Series picks and our Xfinity Series picks, plus the group pick as well. So, interesting. But, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So, we got Texas this week, right, Tristan?
Yes, sir. Let's start with the Xfinity Series. I'm calling my shot right here, and I'm taking him. 4 in a row, Noah Gragson. Give it to me. I'm taking him.
Why
Sorry.
would you do this to me?
He's on a hot streak.
I know. That's why I was going to pick him. I guess I could still.
You could still, but then it'd be like Ike's lunch, and it would just be like my pick that you just like took from me. Like that's just not like the same amount of points.
I've picked him as the championship since the beginning of the year. If anything, I've called this from the beginning.
Bro, I know. I feel like you're like taking my Don's pick right now, and like it's like not the same. I'm picking Gregson. Like that's what I'm doing right
I'm
now.
going with Justin Allgaier.
Ooh, good pick. I like that Allgaier pick. He's always a sneaky guy. He's got me a couple points this season.
Daniel?
Thinking.
I'm thinking.
I'm looking between 2 guys right now. One's a part-time guy, one's a full-time guy. One would affect the playoffs, one would not.
Okay.
Do I want to go with the non-playoff or the playoff guy? Oof. I'm gonna go the non-playoff guy. I'm gonna go with John Hunter Nemechek in the 18.
Okay, that was a good pick. I was thinking the 18, but I wanted to get my Gregson pick.
I was stuck between him and Brandon Jones.
You said who?
But-
Sorry.
Jones.
John or
I don't know. I was just thinking, yeah. I was thinking Brandon Jones.
Speaking of
for some-
Brandon Jones, I completely missed that part in Motorsport Media where where I called the fact that Brandon Jones was leaving JGR, and then the day before the episode came out, he signed with Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a good-
we
completely
didn't think it'd
missed
be the
that.
9. We didn't think it'd be the
like
9.
that's absolutely insane. But anyway, go ahead. Let's go ahead and move on to the NASCAR Cup Series, guys. Racing at Texas. As I mentioned, I don't know if we will see another winner this season that is not a playoff guy. And when I think Texas Motor Speedway, I think of one guy in particular who is incredible here. He has fired those pistols in the sky a couple times. He knows how to get it done here. And that's why I'm going with the 5 of Kyle Larson this weekend at Texas. I feel like that's just a predictable pick. I mean,
That's gonna be my pick, my first pick as well.
yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean,
It was gonna be my
Ki-
pick, but that would just make it. Should we just make him the group pick?
no.
Is that well? If all 3 of us pick him,
This is what I wanted to do with Colton Herta a couple weeks ago, and you said no.
yeah, but neither of you were gonna make him your number 1 pick. We all were gonna make him our number 1 pick.
Okay, fine.
That's
Let's
what I'm
make
trying to say.
Well,
like-
then fine. Let's make Kyle Larson our group pick, so we can all get 5 points. If we're all picking Kyle Larson, then I guess my first pick instead will be the 11 of Denny Hamlin. That will be my first pick. That was originally going to be my second pick.
Okay.
My second pick now, that underdog spot. He's not really going to be an underdog, but I've picked him a couple times this season, and he is a playoff guy that is still in there. Wow, I'm surprised no one's taken him in a little bit. No one's thought about him. He's another Hendrick guy. I'm going Byron. I think Byron.
Byron.
That's a joke from the first week of the season. Byron. I think William Byron could be my second pick.
I got my 2 picks, guys.
See, who are they?
So the first pick is the guy who won the All-Star race here this year, Mr. Ryan Blaney. Then
That's a
the
good pick.
underdog pick is gonna be Christopher Bell.
That's good. I like those. Daniel.
I was gonna make my first pick, Christopher Bell.
No, shall we make it the group pick? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Hey, I looked at my
that.
preseason one, and my preseason one said Kyle Larson. You both went, we're going Larson. I was like, bro, I was about
Hey.
to say that.
I'll take 5 extra points, but it just boosts us all anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So Christopher Bell's gonna be my first pick, and my wild card pick. I know I've been talking down on him this whole time, but he won the All-Star Open. Daniel Suarez is my wild card.
Yeah.
Again, I don't necessarily think it's gonna happen, but if anybody weird of the playoff driver is gonna win here, that's my pick.
Hey,
I see.
personally, I have Suarez going into the round of 8, and I have him as a contender for the round of 4. That's just what I'm saying. I think that's just me,
And,
though.
I think you're crazy.
Okay, Reddick.
Pace Bristol
Anyway.
Championship, baby.
Okay. All right, guys. Those are our predictions for this week. You guys can always track our predictions on our Twitter page. We live tweet who got those picks and stuff. All that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and go back to the main screen. Let's close this episode out. Let's talk about some Indy Boys stuff. Okay, guys. So I have a little bit of fun news really quickly regarding a opportunity that we have all been approached with an iRacing league due to commentating. So this Friday night, I myself, Tristan Grider, will be commentating an IndyCar race on iRacing for the Elite Racing Network. They are an Indy, just an iRacing kind of like team. And I'm going to be commentating Nashville, along with along with Rish Colosa. Me and him are going to commentate for the Elite Racing Network this weekend. Going to be awesome. 7:45 Eastern time. Going to be a good time. Friday night. You guys can check it out there. It's going to be awesome. If you guys see that shirt that Daniel's wearing right now. You guys can purchase that shirt with the link in the description, indyboysmerch.com. Use your promo code IndyBoys to get 10% off of your order. Follow us on all those social medias, guys, at Indy Boys Podcast. Shout out really quick to Burnout Sports. You guys can find articles by Tony Donahue and by myself, Tristan Grider, in the IndyCar tab and in the NASCAR tab on the respected website, where you can also find all of our Indy Boys account episodes, alerts, all of that fun stuff. The Marion Phoenix is the place where I do a lot of my editorial work along with Burnout Sports, and that was where the show was founded. And if you guys click on the Indy Boys tab, you can get live and free versions of our podcast, like if without paying for a Spotify premium, without paying for all of this stuff. You can get it right there on marionphoenix.com. We love it. Before we close this episode out, Jay, you got anything to say?
Oh?
Okay,
I just wish
baby, my homie.
No, I was just gonna say I wish they blew Texas. That's all I gotta say. Well, the track, not the state, not the state, the track, not the state.
Can we save
all
Buc-ee's?
of Texas.
Can we save Buc-ee's?
Oh, all of Texas? Yeah, only the Buc-ee's is allowed. Yeah. Okay,
That's
fine.
Got it.
It'll just be an island.
Nice racetrack you got there. Hope you guys don't find a pipe bomb.
Wait, you probably shouldn't say that because if it happens now,
It was a joke. It was a joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
that's funny. But
All right, Daniel, you got anything to say, man?
All I'm saying is, I think we need to challenge Jay to have his wild card pick finally work out. Me and Tristan have had our wild picks come out because Jay needs his contender for pick of the year. Because Tristan had Ty Majeski, I had Ross Chastain at Coda. Jay, you gotta step up, bro. You gotta have that one weird one that works out.
it ain't my decision, man. What the?
No, I'm wishing you luck. I'm
Hey,
wishing you luck.
Hey, listen. Life in the fast lane, Dylan, or as the
Yeah,
guy
that
said,
worked out for me.
That was a pretty good one.
It
Well,
was an
he didn't pick him
unintentional. It
for
was an
that race.
unintentional pick, but it's technically.
Yeah.
Also, my Stingray Rob pick at Laguna Seca was a pretty good one as well. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
was
but I think the Majeski one outweighs that one.
The Majeski one does beat. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the Majeski pick was like absolutely like ice cold. It was an ice cold Blue Mountain take. Like, that was a fire one.
We
Like that
both had our really out there picks.
Yeah. And hey, yours ended up just turning out to be a like really good season for Ross Chastain. Hey, and my guy's gonna be competing for a championship at Phoenix in November.
Yes.
It's September. Anyway, guys, for Burnout Sports and for the Marion Phoenix, my name is Tristan Grider, signing off for Justin Cox and Daniel Chaney. Have a good one, guys. We love you. Peace. Let's go to Texas. Yeehaw. Cowboys. Yeehaw.